us the introductions, tell us what he's been up to, and then we'll open it up for open mic. So we give a big round of applause for our minister, Mr. Doug Schweitzer.
Hello?
Takes a second, though.
Takes a second?
Hello? Well, thank you everybody for coming out tonight to talk about rural crime. And the last 2 months, we've tried to get to every community that we possibly could across Alberta to talk about the challenges that people are facing in their communities. And in many instances, that constant sense that people are on edge. They're feeling uncomfortable. They don't necessarily feel safe. They're concerned about their loved ones. And I wish I could tell people that it was kind of different stories that we've heard in every community, but it's been pretty consistent across the board. We've been as far north as Fairview, we've been to Drayton Valley, we've been down south by Coaldale. So we've tried to talk to as many Albertans in every different pocket of Alberta, and the resounding feedback is that people used to feel comfortable when somebody was driving down their dirt road. They feel pretty comfortable that, it's a neighbor, it's a friend, but now they're not sure who it is, and they're on edge. They feel like it could be somebody there to harm them, and that's not good right now. There's a breakdown in confidence in the justice system. Our police officers, people recognize that our police officers are doing what they can to keep them safe. They recognize the logistical challenges that we have in the big space in Alberta to try and get to across broad geographic areas, but at the same time, there's concerns. Once the police do their job, they catch somebody. There's frustrations around catch and release system and the justice system. So we've heard loud and clear from Albertans as a whole that there's frustration and a lack of confidence in the direction of the justice system in Alberta, and it's justified. And when you hear the stories, and there was one story we heard where somebody's trailer was stolen. They recovered the trailer only to have this trailer stolen again, and it happened in the matter of a very short period of time. So really, it's we've heard Alberta's loud and clear, and from these town halls. This week's our last week. We have one more town hall after this. But we'll have talked to probably close to 2,500, 3,000 people by the time it's done in person at these town halls. And we also had online surveys, and we've had over 7,000 responses online. So we've heard many different suggestions and themes come out of these town halls. And let me tell you that your voice, what you're bringing forward, hopefully we can hear more ideas coming out tonight, is becoming real policy in the province of Alberta. Right now, behind the scenes, we're working on 5 to 10 different policy suggestions that came out of these town halls, right from Albertans. And the one thing that our MLAs have made loud and clear to me as the Justice Minister is that this issue is the top issue for many of the communities. 1A is jobs, economy, pipeline. That's 1A. People want to work, and then 1B is safety, and people are worried about their safety in their community. So, a huge credit to your MLA and many of our other colleagues from rural Alberta is that they have made this a provincial issue. And through our efforts over the last few months, we've also tried to make sure we raised awareness of this issue in Calgary and Edmonton as well. Because right now, I'm in Calgary MLA, and I'll tell you, when I was door knocking, rural crime never came up once. It may not surprise you, but we've tried to make sure we elevated the profile of the issue because it's not just an Alberta issue. It's actually a nationwide issue that we have in dealing with rural crime, because our criminal code and our laws are designed for downtown Toronto. They're not designed for rural communities. So we want to make sure we continue to raise the profile of these challenging issues, because there's certain things that we can do under provincial jurisdiction to help make things better. But there's certain areas that it's the responsibility of the federal government and the responsibility in Ottawa to amend the criminal code. And we've sent letters of support to amendments to amend the criminal code. So we're working as much as we can to get change out of Ottawa, but we want to work with like-minded provinces to help continue to put pressure on Ottawa to make the necessary changes so people in rural communities can feel safe again. Now, what's under our control? What are some of the things that we are working on? And we're trying to pull on every lever that we have. So, number one, we've had prosecutions. We have a lack of prosecutors in the province of Alberta. Their caseload is simply too high. You hear continually about cases being dropped that should be prosecuted. So when we came to office, we were expecting a certain number of prosecutors to be in the office, and we were short by about 25. So we're right now hiring those unfilled 25 positions that we inherited. And we've also, in our budget that we put forward this last week, or 2 weeks ago, we're also going to be hiring 50 more. So we're in the process right now of hiring 75 prosecutors in the province of Alberta. So To put that in context, 75 prosecutors would be the second largest law firm in the city of Edmonton. Largest law firm is about 100 lawyers in Edmonton. So this is a significant increase in prosecution power or horsepower in the province of Alberta, and that will be spread across the province. So it won't just be concentrated in any one place. It'll be based off of caseload and demand in various regions of the province. And we've seen that in every community that we go to, is that many of these offices are bursting at the seams. So that's one of our strategic investments that we're going to be doing. The other one is that our court system itself is backlogged. We've got an immense amount of pressure on our judiciary. And to put this into context as to what we've inherited, we are still running MS-DOS in the Justice Department. MS-DOS was from 1981. I was 2 years old, and we are still running that computer program. So needless to say, our first capital investment in our budget was a complete overhaul of the online tools that we have in justice. We made a strategic investment that is an area where we can improve. And it goes further. The most efficient way, if you're not right there by the courthouse, the most efficient way to file documents in Alberta is by facsimile. And I kid you not, we have 4 people that sit around a fax machine and deal with paper that is filed by fax, because that's more efficient than an online system apparently. So we're making sure we do a complete overhaul on that side of it. In addition, we're looking at how do we deal with files that are in the court system right now more efficiently, make sure that we are valuing the time in the courts. It's like our operating rooms in the justice system. They're expensive. You've got judges there, you've got clerks, you've got sheriffs, you've got lawyers from legal aid to prosecutions. So how do we best respect the time of our courts? Because your priorities, in what we've heard in the town halls, is not necessarily to be in there dealing with smaller infractions. You may not be there for traffic tickets or other things that are going through our court system. You want your priorities focused on areas that are more serious. So right now in Alberta, we have about 45,000 appearances a year by police officers just to deal with traffic tickets. In Alberta. So we're looking at ways that we can clear those cases out of the court system into more efficient models. There are examples of this in many other jurisdictions across North America and in Canada that we're looking at to help streamline that process, make our courts more efficient, make sure we get your cases through so your priority cases are there. On top of that as well, we've got to make sure that our police officers are freed up. We've put a huge amount of burden on them, from paperwork to appearances in courtrooms. We want them out on the streets, keeping people safe. So we want to make sure that happens. So that's why getting these efficiencies in our justice system is so important, because it frees up our police time. Another area that we've heard loud and clear as well is that you want us to take a look at how do we empower our sheriffs, how do we empower our peace officers to make sure that they're doing the work that you want them to be doing, because again, that contributes to law enforcement in Alberta. That frees up, again, police time to do the more serious things that are there, because the police officers, they're well-trained professionals at what they do. But let's make sure we're using their time well. We don't necessarily want them filling out paperwork. We don't necessarily want them doing burdensome stuff on the sides of the roads. But let's make sure we empower and get the right person doing the right job. So we've heard that loud and clear on our end as well. You want us to explore different options there. So another thing too that we've done, and right now we're just in the process of finalizing some of the consultation on it, is working with rural municipalities on the structure of our policing model in the province. So right now, there's 20% of Albertans live in municipalities where that municipality doesn't contribute to the cost of policing. 80% of Albertans live in municipalities where the vast majority of the funding for policing comes from the municipalities. Anywhere from about 70% to 90% of the police funding is paid for at the municipal level. So right now we're actually having a discussion with municipalities about partnering together. So that 20% right now, those municipalities that aren't currently contributing to policing, we're talking to them about how do we get more resources put into frontline policing? How do we grow the pie together? We're dedicated as a province to continue funding the levels that we're doing right now. That's not going to change. But if we can work together in a partnership, every additional dollar would go into boots on the ground, go into frontline policing in their communities. So we right now are having that discussion. No final decisions have been made on that, but that's one of the things that you're hearing about potentially in the media. That's one of the areas where we want to make sure we can get additional resources on the ground. And if we get buy-in, I think it'd be pretty historic and see a historical change in rural policing across this province. I think it'd be a good thing, but we're trying to see if we can get buy-in with our municipal partners to get that done. Actually, sorry, I forgot one other area that we're doing as well. We also have an addictions epidemic in our province. a lot of the thefts that we have in Alberta are driven by people with addictions. We've seen it, the stats show it, these folks are not well, but the current structure of our justice system is not dealing with the issue. It's not getting, these people, they'll steal something from a resident of Alberta one day, they'll go before a justice of the peace, they won't hold them, they'll be back out within 24 hours, and they're back out in your communities, quite often continuing to use drugs, but also continuing to steal goods. And many of these individuals are stealing $5,000 to $10,000 worth of goods a week in order to feed their addiction issue. So one of the things that the Premier had the foresight to do is he actually appointed an associate minister of mental health and addictions. So his sole focus is helping us solve the epidemic that we have right now. Right now we're out doing a review on the safe consumption sites that the previous government put in place. We're doing a review of that, and that'll come forward. But we're looking at not just one way of dealing with addictions, but how do we actually deal with the root cause of addictions? And he's got a mandate, he's put forward funding to get 4,000 new spaces available to deal with addictions in Alberta, which is going to be key to helping get people the treatment when they need it. Another announcement that we made was actually leveraging the innovation in the courts. We can't just keep doing what we've been doing, it's not working. But there are some really well-established programs like drug treatment court that hold people accountable for their treatment. They have to go look a judge in the eye on a weekly basis as to how they're progressing in their treatment. And it's had amazing results. People that graduate from that program, typically these individuals are facing serious penalties, like 1 to 4 years of jail time. And they go through a 12 to 18 month program. And when the graduates of that program, 70% of them don't reoffend. So we're looking at proven methods, proven track records to make sure that we have the ability to deal with the different challenges. So we're pulling every lever that we've got. So making sure we have prosecutor capacity, making sure we go after organized crime, making sure our judicial system's efficient, but as well as making sure we deal with the root causes of many of these addictions issues that are leading to the thefts that we're seeing in our communities. So we're trying to pull on every lever that we have. I've got a bunch of other things I could get into, but usually they come up in the Q&A, so I'll stop there. And again, thank you so much for caring about your community and being here tonight. Best part about my job is that I'm grateful to be in this position. Like, it's a complete honor to have the opportunity to do this job and help try and make change in our province. And this position will be here long after I'm gone, I hope. And I'm just trying to do my part to help move things forward. So appreciate you guys being out here tonight, and love to take your questions.
So with that, who has any questions? Actually, round of applause. Yeah, let's do that. Thank you very much.